All right, what's going on, everyone? We got Akane Banashi. They just announced the anime, and I've been behind on the manga, so I thought today would be the perfect opportunity to catch back up. I'm not crazy behind. I'm like 30 chapters behind, so it's a good number of chapters, but, you know, it's not 100, right? It's not like a year behind or anything like that. Pretty close, though. As usual, we'll answer manga questions. We'll talk about what's going on in the community. The scene right now seems pretty tame, considering how much hype there was going into this season. So I want to take a look before we read Akane Banashi. I want to talk about the summer season. So if we go to, let's go to Mal first. We got Eden's in chat. What's going on, Eden's? Summer 2025 anime. So we got Dandadan. We got My Dress Up Darling. Kaiju number 8 seems to be like very quiet. Like it could just be because I don't really follow anyone big into kaiju. But, what was I going to say? Kaiju number 8, it seems like once the manga ended, like that's it. Like nobody cares. Like I'd be curious. So let's go to Crunchyroll. I want to see if we go to popular. As a matter of fact, Gachi Akuta is number 3 on Crunchyroll right now, and it's ahead of Dandadan. With that being said, Fire Force is number 5. Clevitas is number 6. Yeah, My Dress Up Darling is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Is My Dress Up Darling on Netflix? Yeah, My Dress Up Darling is on Netflix, so that probably explains why it's not super popular on Crunchyroll. We're not making it even 10 chapters in when we figure out a way to pivot into the Rent-A-Girlfriend segment of the stream. I haven't read Rent-A-Girlfriend since, you know, like the big chapter. Has anything crazy happened? You can spoil me. If you're not up to date with Rent-A-Girlfriend, then let me know. But yeah. It's crazy to see, like how some of these shows, I feel like Crunchyroll this season is very unreliable as far as like what's popular for anime, which kind of goes to show how much Netflix is really starting to control the market. I talk about this in a video that I'm going to drop either tomorrow or Saturday. Excuse me. But Netflix is really starting to be where everyone watches their anime. Obviously, you have the people who pirate everything, right? So they're irrelevant. But Crunchyroll for like, I'd say like at least half a decade, probably the last decade, has been the place to stream your anime, right? And in the last few years, people have been kind of tiptoeing into other places, right? Like you can watch anime on Hulu, you can watch anime on Netflix, right? You can even watch some stuff, Disney, Hulu, whatever. Amazon, right? If you want to buy stuff on Amazon, excuse me. But now it's kind of all Netflix, which is crazy. It's crazy that Gachi Akuta is on. Well, no, because they did the same thing with Fire Force. I don't really get the whole Crunchyroll and Hulu thing. I don't know. It's very weird. The whole anime streaming rights thing is in a very weird position, but it's also like that's just the state of streaming these days. Like they have everything all over the place, and I'm not saying, you know, I'm not in favor of a monopoly, but it would be really nice if I could just watch everything in one place. Which is what's slowly happening with Netflix. That's slowly what Netflix is doing. But yeah. I do want to see. I do want to pull up. No. Tadum. That's their stats, right? Top 10. Top 10 movies. Shows. Here we go. See, I wish they'd split it up into categories. If I go to Japan, let's see. Yeah, so it's Dandadan, Kaiju. Demon Slayer is there. Interesting. So, although interesting, My Dress Up Darling is nowhere close in the top 10 in Japan. Huh. I don't know, this summer season is very weird. It's very weird. We got Josh in the chat. What's going on, Josh? How you doing? It's better if the market is diversified. True. I definitely want competition. At the same time, I feel like we're kind of in a sweet spot right now where there is competition, but also like even the stuff that's on Hulu, for example, or Disney, most of the time it's also on Crunchyroll. Like Gachi Akuta is on Crunchyroll, Fire Force is on Crunchyroll. The only stuff that isn't on Crunchyroll that's on Disney is Bleach and then Undead Unluck. Excuse me. Anyway, I also want to take a quick look at Manga Plus, as per usual. So, top 5 are the same. Sakamono Days, Kagurabachi, Ichi the Witch, Centauria Blue Box. Yeah, really has not changed that much. No, Kyoshi keeps moving up little by little, which is weird because I feel like it's at its lowest point in the West, and now it's picking up. It's weird. Give me a minute. I'll answer that rent-a-girlfriend question. You know what? I know I said Akane Banashi, but why don't we check out the new rent-a-girlfriend chapters? And that took 12 minutes. Let's go to Weeb Central. Um, 383 probably. Nah, Hush says, bruv, don't. Fair. Let's go to June 24th. Is that it? Yeah, this is the last chapter. The last chapter I read. So this is after Chizuru rejected Kazuya. Alright, they're doing their BS. He's gonna carry her home because she broke her shoe or lost her shoe. She was wearing high heels. So he's carrying her on her back. She's saying, I'm sorry, you know, for rejecting you, obviously. I just pulled it up. Yeah, I know. I fell victim. There's only a few chapters anyway, so I'm just curious. Nobody's been talking about it, so I can't imagine anything too crazy happened. I haven't seen Chibi Reviews post about it, so it can't be anything that bad. Then again, Chibi Reviews doesn't really review anime anymore. He just kind of talks about YouTube censorship, which is fine, I guess, but maybe he should change his channel name. So Chizuru is basically saying, you know, when I'm with him, it feels like I'm with family. It feels like a story, right? And this is why I don't like Chizuru, because she gets the, you know, she gets to ditch the responsibility of like entering into this relationship, but she gets the moral high ground of like, you know, being like the one to say no, to be like, oh, well, I'm going to go to classes, so I don't know where I'm going to be in life. But then like still get away with saying like, oh, but I like you, right? So she gets the value of being a moral person, but she still is torturing this guy. Like she literally just said, yeah, it's not going to happen. And here he is still thinking he has a shot. She has no problem with that. So they're back in their house. It's time for him to move out. He gave the key back. Taxi pulls up. So he's got his stuff. He's moving out. He's kind of waiting for a big reaction. Saying, you know, I'm going to miss her. This was fun, right? Again, to himself, because he never just says this stuff. Although here he goes. Excuse me, here he goes. He's like, I meant what I said yesterday. I'll wait for you, right? She gets in the car with him, kisses him. It was like a long kiss, too. It's not like a peck on the cheek or anything. She goes, you can drive now, and sends him away. Bro, Chizuru is the ultimate tease. I feel bad for Justin. Ultimate Akane Banashi hype, and here we are reading Rent a Girlfriend. I'm gonna read Akane Banashi, but Eden's had to bring up Rent a Girlfriend. So now I got Rent a Girlfriend on the brain. I wasn't thinking about it, but here I am. But bro, she literally kissed this guy and then she was like, all right, take him away. It's like, who does this? What kind of psycho does this? New fear unlocked. Anyway, so he goes back to his apartment, it looks like, right? Did he get a new one? Yeah, it looks like he got a new apartment. So now here he is again. This is like day 2 after getting rejected. And now literally all he's thinking about is Chizuru. He's not thinking about, you know, like work or a job or school. He's literally just thinking about Chizuru. Which, to be fair, she's still thinking about him. So now Yaemori is back into the equation. So Yaemori's back, and of course she's trying to figure out what happened because Kazuya texted her and told her it didn't work out, but she doesn't know the details. So here she is, right? She goes, I didn't go into it lightly. It needs to end. But she gave him a big old smooch and was like the ultimate tease, and then was like, okay, bye. Like, bro, talk about psychological warfare. So she's saying to Yaemori, did he say anything else? All right. How many chapters are left? Maybe Kazuya should listen to Mr. Brightside. I have no idea who that is. That reference just went right over my head. It's okay, I'm caught up on Rent a Girlfriend. That's alright then. So now she goes to see Kazuya. Right, Yaemori goes to see Kazuya. Oh gee, you don't have to keep doing this. I want to find out if something happens. Because you brought it up. Listen, don't be Chizuru, right? If you're going to start something, you got to see it through to the end. You got Rent a Girlfriend on my brain, and now I got to figure out what happens. So now he's getting drunk, which is, you know, healthy behavior. Brightside by the Killers? No. I don't even know who that band is. Killers. No, I've never heard that band before. Sorry. See, this is what I don't get about Rent a Girlfriend. So they went on the date. She says that she doesn't want to date Kazuya because she wants to pursue her career, right? So she's like, sorry, but we can't do this. So then she kisses him when he moves out, right? So she's sending all these mixed messages. So now Yemori is saying, well, wait a minute. If you kissed, then that means that what she said was actually bullshit and you can date her. And she's saying, date me. Like, this is ridiculous. This is so stupid. Like, why can't people just use your words? I think that's that's the latest chapter. Bro, so now they're going to spend like another 50 chapters on one kiss. Rent a Girlfriend, how do you do this to me? Yeah, so nothing's happened. All right, now we're back on Akane Banashi. So I'm on chapter 140. The new chapter is like 169 or something. So I'm like 30 chapters behind. So I don't really intend on catching up today. But we can always catch up another day for sure. Excuse me. It's sad to see such a bad manga with such good artwork. That's the thing. I really don't even like, I really don't even like the art in Rent a Girlfriend that much. Excuse me. Like, the art style is okay, but overall I feel like it's kind of generic. Excited for Akane, also excited for the anime. The anime is going to be super fun. Like, I love the characters in this series, so I can't wait to see everything animated. It's also going to be the closest thing I'll see to like live action Rakugo until I like ever make that trip to Japan, which apparently is going to be harder than ever, practically impossible after this year, because apparently they're going to start taxing everything for foreigners. So like, if you literally just go to McDonald's and you try to get an order of French fries and a Coke at McDonald's, you have to pay a foreigner tax. So your $5 fries and Coke now becomes like $10 or $15, which is crazy. But I get why they're doing it. I have a friend who actually just came back from Japan, and he said like the country is so congested because of the tourism, and any restaurant you go to, if you're in like Tokyo or Kyoto, any restaurant you go to, you need a reservation. Like, everything is packed. Like, you can't just walk into a place. It's crazy. Yeah, that sucks and it's stupid. It's stupid because, like, their tourism is clearly doing well enough, but they're kind of suffering from success in that regard. Like, Yeah, I don't know. There's really no good answer to that problem other than just to like kind of tax people, because if people really want to go that bad, they can still go. It's just they're gonna have to spend a lot of money, which is crazy because it's already a ton of money to go to Japan. It's like $1,500 to $2,000 to fly there. My brother was just in Japan. Yeah, I think you were telling me that. I need to ask him how it was for him. My friend who went there said it was really, really fun. He said the food is great. The people are nice enough. The hotels are good. It's just, it's super congested. And if you try to go out to restaurants, you have to like call ahead because everywhere is packed. Like even just a ramen shop, packed. Granted, he went in July. I would imagine if you went in, say, January or February, it would be a slightly different situation. It benefited me when I'm a Disney Club member and went to TDL. Okay. Yeah, I don't really know much about the theme parks over there. I don't think he went to Disneyland. So anyway, if you are not caught up on Akane Banashi and you don't want to be spoiled, then you might want to peace out because we're pretty late in the manga. Normally I would start from chapter 1, but Akane Banashi is something that I followed. When I was reading it every chapter, every Sunday, and then right around chapter 140 is when I stopped. So it only started in like 2022, 2023. So it's recent enough that I still remember everything. I just don't remember all the characters' names. My sources are the Trash Taste podcast. They're actually a pretty reliable source. I mean, they do live there. Excuse me. If I go to Japan, I want to go to EVO, right? So the fighting game tournament. I want to go to, there's an arcade in Tokyo where like all the best fighting game players have visited. I want to go there. It starts with an M, I think. I can't remember what it's called, but it's kind of like a hole in the wall, but they have like every arcade fighting game. I want to go to some car shows and motorcycle shows because obviously Japan, the JDM scene, right? Motorcycle scene is unreal. Trash Taste is not always reliable. If we're talking about just like anime opinions, sure. But I mean, they have lived there, most of them. I don't know. Yeah, they all live there. They've all lived there for like at least a decade. So I kind of think they know what they're talking about. Magi consider watching, albeit animation very similar to Fairy Tail. Yeah, it's on my list. I might watch it this month, but that depends on how I get other stuff done. I'm way ahead of you in Akane Banashi. All right, so Edens, you might want to cover your ears. Yeah, Japan's really cool. Like, it's crazy how it's only the size of, let me see. I'm actually curious. How big is Japan compared to the US? Here we go. Yeah, so Japan is relatively the length of the East Coast, if you think about it. One picture I'm looking at is saying, of course, that doesn't want to pull up. So a couple pictures say it's about the length from Lake Michigan to the south end of Texas, so like southwestern Texas. But it's about the length of the East Coast, which makes sense because if you've just, if like say you were born, if you're like me, you're born on the East Coast, you haven't really left the East Coast. The East Coast of the US, like you have so many different kinds of states that you could kind of have like a pretty diverse life and never really leave the East Coast. Never mind the US. Japan is kind of the same way where, you know, you have the northern region, Hokkaido, they have their own culture, right? Like they have the Ainu culture there. They have Sapporo beer. They have all the hot springs. They have that Russian influence. In the south, you have Okinawa, which is kind of like the Hawaii of Japan, more or less, right? Like they have the beaches, they have the Hawaiian shirts. They really like Spam in Okinawa for some reason. I don't know why Spam is so popular in Okinawa, but it is. And then obviously you have Kyoto and like that old school Japan vibe. And then you have Tokyo, which is modern Japan. So there's a ton of cool stuff, but like Japan is crazy. It's like literally this big, but you could spend like a week there and still not really have gotten like the full Japan experience. Those places sound cool. When I was in Japan, I did a tour, went to the Disney parks, briefly went to Shueisha. Yeah, I'd want to go there for sure. Magi's great, just doesn't cover the whole manga. Yeah. I would probably read the manga first and then watch the anime, because doesn't the anime change some stuff or something like that? Oh, OG, did you know To Your Eternity manga ended? Can you make a video on it? I saw no one talking about it. I can tell you exactly why no one talked about it, because that anime was very trendy during the first season, and then it just, you know, nobody was really talking about it after season 2. Excuse me one second. The reason nobody really talked about it after season 1 is because it doesn't really have a strong manga following. Like obviously people read the manga, but it's not like One Piece, right? It's not like Dr. Stone, even when Dr. Stone was big. That kind of determines like how relevant an anime is. Like look at Kaiju number 8. Kaiju number 8 is the second most watched show in Japan, at least on Netflix, and it's still pretty popular in the US, but nobody's talking about it. And it's because the manga fans don't really give a shit anymore. Yeah. I don't know. Does anyone feel like anime is in a weird spot right now where like we have more shows to watch than ever, but I feel like the community isn't quite the same as what it is? It's not dead, but I feel like, I don't know. I feel like part of it is there's no like true faces of the community anymore. I guess the anime community just got really, really big, but there's no like new face of the community. Like way back in the day, it was Noxtaku, right? Even if you didn't like him, like he was the guy everyone was talking about. There's nobody really like that anymore. GB Reviews is still hanging around, but like outside of his fan base, nobody really likes him anymore. You have Trash Taste, but Trash Taste, I don't know, Trash Taste is in an interesting situation where, I don't know, like they are clearly, if there was going to be anybody that was like the face of the community, it would be them. But I feel like there's a certain disconnect between them and a lot of fans. Am I crazy for saying that, or does everyone else feel the same? I've stopped watching anime ever since they made everything so vibrant in the same genre. Yeah, that's one problem. They have kind of homogenized anime a bit. Like everything is either isekai or shonen. And then it's like rom-coms, right? There's like very few studios who are willing to make stuff that's like truly different. Like Science Saru has been that studio for a while. Like they made Keep Your Hands Off Aizuken, which was none of those things. It was just sort of like a slice of life, like love of animation show. Obviously they're trying to grow, so now they have Dandadan. They're doing Ghost in the Shell, right? I hope they do something that's a little more niche in the next couple of years, but I don't know how they'll approach that. Studio Trigger kind of does that. They have a nice balance of like hitting the mainstream, but like making something that really stands out. Like Cyberpunk could not be more mainstream. It was an adaptation of one of the biggest funded AAA video games ever. Like that, you can't get more mainstream, but it was so clearly different from everything else. People wanted that to be Mappa, but Mappa really just makes like all the biggest Shonen Jump stuff. So animation wise, they stand out, but like content wise, they're just making the same stuff. So I don't really know what the answer is, because anime is trying to hold more of a share in the market, because they're big. Anime is bigger than ever. I mean, literally, Netflix said 50% of people on Netflix watch anime. So they're gonna keep doing what works, and what works is pushing battle shonen, pushing, you know, isekai. Excuse me. I'm glad Kinyuku Man, excuse me, is not animated by Mappa. Yeah, who did that one? Was it Toei, or was it somebody else? Never really liked Trash Taste. Not crazy to say that. The only one person I really mess with in terms of talking about anime is Giguk. Yeah, I feel like out of the Trash Taste crew, the one person who's like actually in touch with the community is Giguk, right? Because like, look at what he's doing. He's making his own anime. Like, he actually gives a shit. And he streams individually. They all stream individually. He like keeps in touch, and like, you know, he's not as in touch with the newer stuff, but I mean, he'll make videos on the newest stuff, and he talks about the new, like he read Kagurabachi, he read other stuff, right? So he's in touch. I feel like, yeah, I guess if it was anybody, it would be Giguk. Joey Anime Man to me just seems like he seems pretty out of touch. And then I don't. Connor is also nice, but I don't really know that he's like up to date with the most recent stuff. That being said, I can really say nothing bad about Connor because of all the stuff he does with Iron Mouse, and like being active with her, with all the like autoimmune work they do. That stuff's really cool. Any thoughts on the Dandadan fan book? Okarun's got a dad. What was crazy was people pointed out that Okarun's dad from the back looks like real life Ken Takakura, and I just think that's hilarious. Like, can we imagine the situation where Momo meets Okarun's dad and she feels conflicted because she really likes Okarun, but her dad looks his dad looks exactly like Ken Takakura, and she's just like, bro, I would pay money. The only good anime are those before 2020. Not true. That is 100% not true. Cyberpunk came out after 2020, right? When did was Cyberpunk 2021? Cyberpunk was 2022. That's a amazing anime, and that's 2022. Dandadan. I need a scene of Momo imagining Okarun with his dad's haircut. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, but if everyone's talking about like what the final chapters of Dandadan would look like if Okarun and Momo are going to be a couple before then, and like, you know, who's going to be together. I hope at the end of Dandadan we get a time skip and we see everyone when they're older. I sincerely hope that we get a time skip when they're adults, right? Like 20s or 30s. And Okarun has like a high and tight haircut like Ken Takakura. Bro, I would pay money. That would be amazing. Anime from the 2010s was not a perfect era. Yeah, no. The 2010s era was not like this like golden era like people want to say it was. Even the 80s, which like people, you know, have such like a perception of 80s anime, like it was infallible. Even 80s anime had its issues. Wedding chapter for Dandadan, not so much a wedding chapter, but like, so for example, in My Dress Up Darling, I won't spoil it for people who haven't read it, but we get to see what the characters are like in, we get to see them at the end of their journey, more or less. Like they made it, right? Like we get to see them achieve what they set out to achieve. I hope we get something like that for Dandadan, where like we see everyone who's together, we see that we get to see their happily ever after is what I hope. We're not talking about Vamola and Takoyaki. That's so in character that her whole identity is Takoyaki. You know who was surprisingly not present in the character book was Turbo Granny. I think there might have been like one mention of Turbo Granny, but I think they kept Turbo Granny to a minimum to kind of like lower everyone's discourse on Turbo Granny, because Turbo Granny has like conveniently been swept under the rug, because I think Tatsu is very deliberately planning something for Turbo Granny, and so for the time being he doesn't want us to start like coming up with theories and stuff. That's just my headcanon. I don't know why Turbo Granny wasn't a big part of the fan book. I also could be totally wrong, but that would make perfect sense. I also think I'm gonna do a video on that, because I think taking Turbo Granny out of the story is what it's what Akutami did with Gojo, but I suspect it's going to be a much better execution of that. Yeah, right? Like they teased it. There was the volume extra where Turbo Granny was like on her side quest and she was researching stuff about Count Saint Germain. Still waiting on that Queen Sensei video. Keep an eye out. Keep an eye out. We're getting a Dandadan video. and Queen Sensei gets a mention. That's all I'm gonna say. Also, the karma thing with Vamola's ball. Karma thing? What are you talking about? I don't remember that. Karma. I vaguely remember that. Will Dandadan pass Chainsaw Man in the next few months in terms of sales popularity? I don't think sales, just because Chainsaw Man has so many volumes in circulation. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't want to expose the video, but I'll say this much. The video I'm talking about, it's already been scripted, already recorded, it's out for editing. It's very similar to a Bleach video I did last year. So if you look at the Bleach video I did, Bleach videos, excuse me, one of those will stand out and you'll be like, oh, so he's gonna do this, but Dandadan. Will Tatsu do a battle tournament arc? Probably not. If anything, it'll be like a bunch of clashes, but I don't think it'll be a true tournament arc. The ball that powers her suit, right? Turbo said something about it being human karma and to get it away from her and never show it to her again. I'll DM you the page. Yeah, that sounds vaguely familiar. I think because wasn't it powered by didn't she get it from the globalists, like the alien empire? But we were talking about will Dandadan surpass Chainsaw Man. I don't think it's gonna surpass Chainsaw Man, just because Chainsaw Man had a good head start. That being said, they're definitely neck and neck. Maybe not sales-wise, but popularity-wise. Popularity-wise, I would say Dandadan is slightly more popular. That being said, I think the definitive answer for that will be when we see the response to the Chainsaw Man movie. Check DMs. Okay, I'll take a look at that after stream. We got Eddie Rayman. It's okay, Eddie. We are going to wrap things up in a few minutes, but yeah. Of course, Akane Banashi stream. I read 2 pages of Akane Banashi. That's okay, though. Any excuse to talk about Dandadan. How far in the story for Dandadan are we? 40% of the way? So if we're talking about the anime, it's like 1/3 of the way, but like if we're saying like when's the manga gonna end, I would say we're like 50 to 55% of the way there, because I feel like it's gonna end around chapter 300, maybe chapter 320-ish, and we're at chapter 200 something now. So yeah, I'd say we're at least 50% of the way there. I think Chainsaw Man will give... I think the Chainsaw Man movie will give the series a boost. Look at the Demon Slayer movies. The thing about that is, like, the anime was already insanely popular, and they followed that first season with the movie, like, a year later. It's been, I think, a couple years since the first season of Chainsaw Man, right? I think so. Yeah, 2022. So it will have been almost exactly 3 years, because it came out October 2022, and it's going to be October 2025. So yeah, 3 years. That's a long time. I know it might not feel like a long time, but 3 years is a ridiculous... Can you imagine if... trying to think of a good example. I don't know, man. 3 years is a long time. That's all I'm trying to say. By the way, OG, for the upcoming few days, weeks with YouTube, new AI IT confirmation thing, will you abide or refuse it? I didn't know that I had an option. I'll have to see. I know they're doing the whole, I know they're doing a bunch of changes like with verification and stuff like that. I'm not really sure. That's something I'm gonna have to research myself. Take a look at it. Yeah. Will the JJK anime ever recover the hype now that the manga is over? Probably not. I think the anime will still be super relevant, but it's going to be kind of like Kaiju number 8, where like, because manga fans don't really give a shit anymore, it's not going to be nearly as trending. It's still going to be trending, but the days of like it like exploding the internet are probably behind us. I am going to refuse it personally for me. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, I really haven't heard that much about it. I keep hearing like different things about the stuff they're doing on YouTube in the coming months, but whatever I do, it'll only be after I like carefully consider everything. What are your top 3 favorite Dandadan manga panels moments? The one in the Globalists arc where they're like standing side by side and they're all transformed and Vamola is standing next to Momo. That one's really good. I like the one where they're walking home. They're either walking to or walking from the convenience store and they're all wearing like, you know, like lazy clothes, right? That one's really good. And just as a lazy pick, I guess, I'll say when we had the Sharknado, that was like the most Dandadan moment. What about Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3? Same thing. I think it'll be popular. I don't think it'll be like as trending as Seasons 1 and 2. Yeah, the squad lineup. That one, that's a legendary panel. I think it's going to be interesting to see how the discourse around Dandadan changes when we get the 3rd season, because there is going to be a slight change in tone, because it's been Okarun and Momo focused forever, but the Space Globalists arc is like the first arc where it's like, excuse me, it's like the first arc where it's like really, really, really action heavy, like super action heavy. When Okarun confessed his, oh, you know what? No, I take that back. So the squad lineup, the Avengers moment, as I call it, them walking to or from the convenience store. And then my 3rd favorite panel is, or moment, because it's technically 2 different pages, but the reveal, and I'll try to make this as spoiler free. The moment when somebody says, have you heard of the Dandadan? Right? So I forget exactly what he says, but he says something like, are you familiar with the Dandadan? Right? That was like a killer moment. That when that happens in the anime, people are going to be like, oh, he said the thing. He said the thing. The show was called that, and then he said that. He said the show. Like, people are gonna. Sorry, it's gonna be like Family Guy when he's watching movies, and he's just sitting there, and he's like, he said it. He said it. It was, well, I'm trying to keep it spoiler free for people, but yeah. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. So friendly reminder, if you missed the August update, now through December, we will not be doing Sunday streams. One reason is because I know I'm going to miss a bunch of Sundays already. So rather than like half-ass them, I'll just take a small break. The other reason is because I'm going to consistently be doing more videos for the entire fall season. So I like that extra time to work on videos and sort of take a break on the weekends. Yeah, so break time, and also I don't want to have an inconsistent thing going on. So this Sunday there will be no stream. The other reason is there's no jump this month, basically, so I might as well start early. So no stream Sunday. Monday will be Dandadan, and also as soon as we read Dandadan, we're going to read Black Clover, because apparently the new Black Clover chapter comes out Monday. So, or chapters, I should say. So that's going to be dope. Look out for a video either tomorrow or Saturday. And yeah, that's pretty much it from me. Thanks, guys. Thanks for another great stream, and I will see you